This video will show you how to repair a LG dryer that won't start. Safety first, so always disconnect power before servicing any electrical appliance. And remember, when you take these machines apart, the internal edges are very sharp and they can cut you and hurt you, so be very careful not to get cut when taking these machines apart. Hello everybody, I wanted to go over a repair job that I did a couple of days ago and the results from it and what I ran into. This is dealing with a a LG dryer that the panel lights up, but it won't let you change anything on the panel and it won't start. Everything else seems normal about the dryer. It's a brand new dryer, and the customer brought this to me of course with the issue that it won't start, and they couldn't figure out what was going on with it. So I want to minimize this window. I'm going to open a couple of screens up and show you what I'm talking about. So let me take care of this first, get this out of the way. My customer left the dryer with me, but it was overnight and I didn't have time to really set up and do recording of it. So going online, I found this exact same model number, LG model DLE 3170W, and here's some pictures of it on the internet, on website Sears. And this one here shows the exact dryer that I was dealing with, and it's got this main control here for setting your cycles, and over here on the right hand side it was this square or rectangular shaped window that had all these different displays and settings with 4 control buttons on the bottom of it here. The interesting thing about this dryer is, number one, couldn't get parts for it as far as what we needed or would have needed, and secondly, even when you look up the parts using this model number on SearsPartsDirect.com to look up parts, it shows a different, let's say it's the same model number right here, DLE 3170W. The interface panel, which is the front panel right here, shows 3 circular buttons on the bottom and a fairly small display window. Nothing at all like what we have on the actual machine. This over here looks the same where the main control is, but we have 4 square buttons on the bottom of ours. And then this interface panel right here, or board, shows to be one piece with a whole bunch of screws that were holding it in place. Well, what we had was 2 pieces, one piece for this and then 2 ribbons, cables connecting this piece to this piece, which was separate, and each one had 4 screws, one pretty much at each side, mounting it to the back side of the controls panel. So the parts weren't even the same. Using that model number to look it up, they weren't even the same. And the problem with this dryer that I had, I didn't realize it when I checked all the buttons. They all seemed normal when I first got the dryer. I took it apart, made sure everything else was good, thermistor, the thermal fuse, etc., etc. Everything tested good. I took the interface panel off the back of the control panel to inspect the board and make sure all the little buttons that are on there were actually working properly, and they were. When I went to put it back together was when I noticed that let me put it on this other one, the actual looks like it, this button here that says time dry, whenever you would screw all 4 of those screws, mainly the lower corner one that would be about right here, to attach that to the back side of this control panel, it would press that button. The button actually would be so tight that it was pressing the button on the board and keeping it down all the time. Well, of course, if you have a button held down all the time, you can't start it, you can't do anything until you release that button. You can't have a button held down. So since we couldn't order the parts for it to replace the interface panel behind it, what I did was I backed this bottom corner screw, which is the closest one to where that time dry button is. I backed it off just a little bit and didn't tighten it all the way down, and lo and behold, all the buttons worked fine. And then of course I put the machine back together and it worked perfectly. The only thing that I was a little concerned about, and I shared with the customer, was it was a little bit loose there. This one and this one were a little bit sloppy compared to the other 2 square buttons here. but working versus not working was certainly a blessing for the customer. And of course, didn't have to spend money right now on parts, may have to in the future. But I just wanted to share that with everyone. This is an issue I hadn't run into before on this style dryer or any style dryer, but it may apply to other brands as well, or other models of LG or other brands. So check those buttons real carefully when they won't start and it seems like it's stuck, because it probably is a stuck button. Alright, there you go. Thanks.